Hello, welcome back to the Restoring Balance podcast. I'm your host, Megan Garza, and I'm a holistic health coach who helps women address their digestive and hormonal troubles so that way they can feel more confident, have clear skin, and get more restorative sleep. Today, we have a special guest joining us, my husband, Louis.
Hello, how's it going?
So, we have been married for a little over a year now, but we've known each other for much longer than that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So today we're going to be discussing dental hygiene and the importance of it, and also the dangers of mercury fillings. So this is a judgment-free place. We come here from a place of education and compassion and understanding. So acknowledging that not everybody has access or the financial means to get their dental work done, or, even things like depression and anxiety can deter someone from getting treatment. So without further ado, we will start. So, how do you feel today about being on my podcast?
I feel great. I'm glad I get to come on the show or your episode and speak about, issues that are going on in today's society.
Yeah, of course. I feel like it's so common for people to be dealing with these issues and to not be able to make the connection to it.
Yeah.
So, tell me, Louis, when you got your dental work back in July 2020, how long was the previous dental work that you had before? How many years prior?
I want to say probably about 5 to 6 years. I fell into a pretty bad depression after the Army. And yeah, like you were saying earlier in your intro, depression is definitely something that I feel drags people down and deters them from doing simple tasks like just dental hygiene.
Yeah, absolutely. No, because I remember, like, even when I was going through all of my depression, there were times where I wouldn't feel like brushing my teeth. And I know that sounds so disgusting, and, it really is, but it's the reality of what does happen. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a background on what his scenario was. So Louis had 4 mercury fillings in his mouth, and these are extremely dangerous. There's actually been literature that showed that it was dangerous over 100 years ago, which I'll explain more about later on about the dangers of mercury. But for a short and sweet version of the dangerous side effects, basically the mercury vapors get continuously released into your mouth as you chew, drink hot liquids, and grind your teeth. So over time, it's just a gradual exposure to the mercury. So it continuously gets released and it goes into your brain, into your bloodstream, gets stored into your organs. And this is definitely not something you want. And this was on my radar for his health because I knew that it was affecting him a lot. Like I could just tell that he wasn't who he really was. And especially since he had kidney cancer, mercury is extremely hard on your organs. So this was something that was a high priority for me to help him with. And obviously, like, I'm not a dentist, so I was searching for one. So I looked up the IAOMT certified dentist, which basically stands for International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. It's an academy of trusted oral health professionals who advocate for safer dentistry. So they actually go into the science behind why they use ozone when they do dental work. They talk about the dangers of fluoride, the dangers of mercury fillings, and other unsafe practices that conventional dentists commonly use. And I found a holistic dentist that was IAOMT certified and actually removes the mercury safely. So this dentist, it was a bit of a drive for us, but the dentist is Pure Dental Care in Palm Springs, Florida. They're really great, and I highly recommend that you check them out if you live in South Florida. Let them know that Megan Garza sent you. They have really great pricing and zero interest payment plans, so that way anyone can be able to afford holistic dentistry. So basically, how this all started, we went to the dentist and they came back and they said, "Hey, Louis, your x-ray has a dead tooth." And that was really surprising to me because I thought that it was just going to be like, oh, you have a lot of calculus and tartar and mercury that needs to come out of your mouth. But they were like, oh, yeah, you have a dead tooth. So that was something that was really scary. they talked about whether or not he would want a root canal or if he would want an extraction. And me immediately, I was like, okay, well, I'm not a fan of root canals. I know that a lot of people get them and they don't have any problems with them. That's great, but you're still leaving a dead tooth in your mouth with all of that bacteria, and it could be a potential breeding ground for problems in the future. So I was like, okay, let's just get that tooth removed. It's not in a really noticeable location. So that was really good because I know some people have teeth in the front and of course they would want to save that, but his wasn't noticeable. I'm not saying that it wasn't scary for him because I know it was, but yeah, he basically went with the decision of getting the tooth extracted and instead of going the root canal route. So, Lewis, did you have any suspicion that you had a dead tooth? Any symptoms like bad breath, low energy?
Well, the thing about like the whole dental, that's where it gets confusing. Is everyone just associates bad, or no, sorry, dental hygiene with just bad breath. Like, so yeah, of course that was there, but like as far as the low energy and all that, I just normally associated that with just allergies, or associated that with my cancer, my recovery from my cancer surgery or something. I never, no, I did not have any suspicion that I had a dead tooth. I knew I had issues in my mouth, in my dental hygiene, but I yeah, like my doctor would send me to my when I told him I had low energy, he'd send me to go get my and then I had like a lot of allergies or something. He'd send me to the allergist.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't understand that like it starts in your mouth and your gut and all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and that's why I feel like it's very important that people have really good dental hygiene.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do remember your doctor would always send you to the I don't know, I forget, the allergist, that's where they would
Allergist, I
send you. Yeah,
think.
the allergy doctor. It's VA care, so yeah, you know how
Mm-hmm.
that is.
Yeah.
So they would send him to the allergist and they would be like, oh yeah, here's all these pills. And he was like, yeah, I don't want to take this shit anymore because it doesn't work. So, yeah, he didn't take it. And then years later, we find out that he had a dead tooth. How long he had this dead tooth? No idea, but I'm glad that it's out and I'm glad that you're recovering. So, when you were recovering, what was your experience with your recovery? Like, what foods did you crave? How was it? What did you do for that time being?
Well, like first off, when they took the dead tooth out, it was literally like a night and day difference. I went from like I want to say like a zero. Well, like I said, I thought it was allergies, but it was really me getting like sick. I was fighting something off. A lot of
Chronic infection.
chronic infection, exactly, and a lot of mucus. I'd have to be sneezing, and everything would trigger me, and all that stuff, and my allergies. So I I went from like a 8 to 10 of allergies to like a 2, just like
Wow.
overnight. Like it was literally like a night and day, for that one. And then the I craved a lot of like probiotic. I'm sorry, like yogurt and
Hmm?
milk. A lot of yogurt and milk,
Raw milk.
raw milk, eggs and stuff like that. Like a lot. It was definitely like I would probably finish like half gallon in like 2 days. But then I also remember they put me on antibiotics as well,
Mm-hmm.
and that really made me go crazy for that stuff, like haywire. But I never knew. No, I never once knew that I was the recovery was miserable. It was like a month long recovery of fighting infection and all this stuff, and um
You were basically just laid out on the couch the whole time, right? You weren't really doing much. We
yeah,
couldn't go on bike rides or
yeah.
walks. You really didn't do much of anything. And I'm glad that you listened to your body because, when you had cancer, you definitely didn't. You went
Well,
out and crazy. Go on.
no, it made me realize that like that particular scenario made me realize, especially I should have done it before, but I guess you grow up and you learn that people don't listen to their bodies, and it made me think, I was having all these allergies and all these issues, but I never once thought it was a dead tooth that was causing it, or an infection. I mean, sorry, not the dead. Well, yeah, the dead tooth and an
Mm-hmm.
infection. That's what was amazing to me. Like my life is, like I said, my life's completely changed. Just
But
in 6 months, or however long it's been. Or...
Yeah, a little bit longer than 6 months. But, where are we taught this stuff? Are we ever taught in school or anywhere that, oh, well, if you're having health problems, it could be connected to your mouth? I mean, we really aren't told these things. And I think that that's really sad because there's a lot of health conditions that can be prevented if you just take really good care of your mouth. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's like the cure-all, of course it's no one thing for your health. Like that's not going to work. You can't just take a supplement and then you're all better. But, this is definitely an important part of this important puzzle piece. And I feel like a lot of people are missing it. Mm-hmm. So when you got the dead tooth extracted, what are the major benefits that you actually noticed?
Oh gosh, my concentration changed. My allergies went away. Energy started coming back. And are we just talking about the dead tooth? We're not talking about the mercury yet?
Correct. Okay. We are not, because that was after
that's a whole other ballgame.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Gosh, what else? The bad breath went away.
Immediately, yeah. But it's like, it was crazy because he would brush his teeth and then, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like, I would kiss you and I'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you just brushed your teeth. Your teeth, like, I knew that there was something wrong, but I couldn't pinpoint it.
Of course.
So, okay, so you got the tooth extracted, now you're doing Invisalign for straighter teeth. So what are they going to do for the tooth implant? Have we really discussed that with the dentist? I think that they do the zirconia implant. It's zirconia, which is, I think it's like a plastic material or something different, some kind of ceramic. Because I'm not really a huge fan of like titanium in the body, because you have to think, you're holding your cell phone all day, you're exposed to Wi-Fi, you're exposed to EMF from your car, from the cell phone towers, and that's just amplifying that radiation to your brain. I've heard so many stories of people saying that all of a sudden they got these metal implants in their head and now they are just experiencing just tremendous sickness. And, that's definitely from EMF being amplified in your brain. And that's why I'm really glad that this dentist is using zirconia rather than titanium. I know that it's good for the body in a sense of it potentially being biocompatible, but the zirconia implants are actually a lot more biocompatible than the titanium. So that's great that the zirconia implant is going to be better for him. So that makes me feel a lot more safe that the dentist is actually looking into this stuff and not just saying, yeah, we're going to put a bunch of metal in your mouth.
Yeah.
So are you nervous about having that implant put in your mouth?
Of course, absolutely. Especially after the shellacking that I got last summer from dental work. I mean, according to what your mom says, it should be relatively painless. Or, I mean, of course, there'd be some pain, but she seems fine. So I'm not too nervous about it. I mean, more the pocketbook.
Yeah, that's true. But they offer, we have a credit card called Care Credit. It's Care Credit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really helps because they offer, it's like 6-month, 12-month, 18-month, and 24-month with interest-free financing. So that really opens up a lot of doors for us because, you're going to pay one way or another, whether or not you have health insurance. Like, you're going to have to pay for your health. And the way that I look at it, it's pretty much the same because I get to choose when I go to the doctor. I get to choose what I'm going to pay if I want to pay that. And I don't have to get any surprises back from the insurance company saying, oh yeah, we didn't pay that $300 from this blood work. And just an interesting little side story. So we both did a heavy metals and mineral hair test during all of his dental work. I think it was like right before he got his mercury fillings out in July 2020. And my test actually showed that I had twice the amount of mercury in my body than Lewis did. And this is crazy because I've never had any mercury fillings ever. And Lewis had 4 mercury fillings for over 15 years. I'm not saying that it doesn't mean that the mercury in his mouth was not dangerous, because absolutely it was dangerous. And I'm pretty sure that we had all the same CDC requirements as shots. I think the year he was born is pretty much the same requirements as when I was born. And he even went to the Army and he got all kinds of shots there. But, he has a higher lead and cadmium toxic load than I do. And of course, because he was around all of that gunpowder and lead from the bullets and everything, And this really shows you that everyone's ability to detox is unique. And there's really no one size fits all approach with this, because something that is, it's a completely different topic and I'm not going to go into it. I'll go into it on another podcast, but that's just something that I thought I would throw out there. So, Lewis, what was the mercury removal experience like? Describe what the dentist did, what they replaced it with. Oh, and also talk about how your kidneys felt, because when they were taking the mercury out, that was really scary and creepy.
For the mercury removal experience, it was just absolutely atrocious. There was absolutely no fun in that whatsoever. I mean, I know you don't go to the dentist for fun, but even with the laughing gas, I was definitely not happy. So they had to like do a lot. There was like this big vacuum thing. They all had to wear a bunch of protection, and
like on their clothes,
on their clothing. I had to wear a bunch of protection like around me. And as far as my kidneys, it felt like something was like latching on to my kidney and just trying to like hang on while they were like, basically as they were pulling the metal out, you could feel my kidneys like, it felt like they were like electricity or something,
like magnet,
yeah, like a magnet, like it was like just trying to pull back, kind of like, because they didn't the mercury latch onto your body essentially or something like that, or yeah, so you could feel it was definitely latched on. And that was probably the scariest part of the whole thing. It felt like my kidneys were just going to shut off.
God, and I bet that must have given you like PTSD and flashbacks, to the hospital and the surgery.
Of course. Ugh. Yeah, it's always hard for me.
God.
But
it's so creepy.
Yeah, it was definitely a rough experience. It makes me sad that they even let that happen to people. I have some friends that their kids have mercury fillings and all kinds of stuff. And,
yeah, like little children, they have mercury in their mouth.
Like I heard the other day of a 6-year-old having a root canal. I'm like, 6 years old, you only have regular teeth. Yeah,
I know. And that's all just, that's poor nutrition and parents not knowing any better and feeding their kids GMOs and injecting them with a bunch of foreign substances and all kinds of stuff. So it's just the whole system is super corrupt, but you're listening to this, I'm sure you know it. So the experience of you getting the mercury out, they put the dental dam on you in your mouth, the rubber dam, to protect you from the vapors. They did the vacuum, they did the clothing, you had special eyewear, they had special eyewear and breathing devices, you had oxygen.
Mm-hmm. And I forgot to say, you said they were made out of, I think it was a porcelain? No, not porcelain. I forgot the material they used for implant.
Gosh, it's it's basically porcelain.
Porcelain, right? Yeah. So that was I forgot to.
There's another name for it, but I'm totally blanking out right now. But it's basically a white filling.
Ceramic, I think.
Yeah. So, how was the recovery for the mercury fillings compared to the extraction of the dead tooth?
Well, the extraction of the dead tooth was hard because of the infection, but I didn't have an infection with the mercury. It was definitely like a couple of weeks. Like I was maybe even a month. Like it was another process. One thing I noticed immediately was, and this is where it gets complicated and people, don't understand, but like I know we all hear ringing in our ears. But like I heard it all the time and I couldn't control my like emotions and my temper and all that, and it was ridiculous. And migraines went away, headaches went away. I mean, I still get them because I have them for other reasons, but that particular reason is definitely, that was not helping my migraines at all. And yeah, definitely the I'm trying to think what else.
Your body composition changed overnight. Like it was like
I was able to gain muscle.
Yeah, like I get it. We changed to eating more frequently and to more pro-metabolic, but like there's no way it would have changed that quickly. I noticed once you started. Mm-hmm.
Concentration.
Your concentration was a lot better, but I mean, like you lost fat almost immediately, and your body started to show your abs and more muscle definition and tone, and it was overnight. Like I couldn't believe how quickly that happened, and you'd been busting your ass off trying to find a way to lose the fat and to get your muscles stronger, and like nothing was working. And then the mercury fillings came out, and it was it was so much better.
Yeah, that goes back to the lack of education. You know,
Hmm.
we're just being poisoned, and no one questions it. No one says anything, and you know, I don't know. Just
Yep. No, people really don't question any of this stuff because, like, I went to a conventional dentist because my insurance was still valid at the time, and I tried to tell her about Lewis's experience with the mercury, and she basically like just dismissed it and was like, "Oh no, it's fine." I'm like, "How the hell are you gonna say it's fine? Like you are putting mercury in people's mouths. You are being exposed as the practitioner to this toxic substance. There are warning labels on all this, and the whole board of medicine for dentistry, they tell them that this shit's safe, and it's a crime. It
mm-hmm.
should be a crime for them to do this, and they are needlessly harming so many hundreds of thousands of people every single year because this is what insurance approves. Like, a
Yeah,
lot of insurances will not approve the other kind of fillings, the safer ones. Was that the composite? That's what it
composite.
is.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
and that's the thing too is you know, we are a lot of people are not poor per se, but there's people that don't have money, so
Hmm.
like they make it more affordable this way or through insurance. I don't know, it's crazy.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and it was a huge chunk of money.
and this is where like I want to warn people right now. I've taken a new approach to life when it comes to money. And I've learned that you're gonna have to pay in the beginning, the end, or the middle, or somewhere. You're never gonna get a loophole. Yeah, you can say, "Oh, I don't care," you know, I don't have to work out. It's not affecting me now. Okay, well, many years down the line, it will affect you. And what I'm getting at with this is a lot of people might say, "Oh, it's just my dental work, whatever. I'm young, my teeth are healthy, whatever.
Hmm.
I don't have to floss, I don't have to brush, or I could skip a teeth a toothbrush,
Cleaning, yeah.
cleaning or whatever." But now, like, I think I've spent probably about 10K, and I'm coming up on 14 because of the Invisalign, and then I'm gonna do another four after that for the dead tooth. So there I go. If I would have been proactive before, just spent the money up front and not been so cheap with myself personally, I wouldn't be in this situation. But like I said, you're gonna pay one beginning, middle, or end. Somewhere is gonna you're gonna get paid somewhere. You have to pay somewhere. Like, so that's why I try to tell people. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm at 14K. Yeah.
And that's really average. And I know a lot of people, especially from outside of the states, are like, "Oh my god, that's so expensive. I want my free healthcare." But like, I personally prefer to pay for my healthcare because of the fact that I have the choice to choose when I go to the doctor and who I see. I'm not tied down to the government of them telling me when I can go to the doctor. And the more control the government has, the less control we do. So, do we really want free healthcare? Not everyone wants free healthcare. A majority of people that I've talked to, they all tell me like, "No, I want to pay for my healthcare because I get to choose which doctors and which policy I have rather than just saying, yeah, I have to be on a waiting list to go see a therapist, and the therapist could be a complete quack." Like, no, when you pay for your healthcare, like, you get to choose exactly what it is you want. I got to call several different doctors before I chose this doctor, and I
Mm-hmm.
was very satisfied. And yes, I will pay the money. I think it's like 150 to get a cleaning at this dentist, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's really not that bad. I mean, your oral hygiene is so important. There's so much bacteria and viruses that live in your mouth, just so much, and people don't realize that it's important to take care of it.
And another thing too is like in the medical field, dentistry, anything, there's a lot of ego involved, especially with the men. I've always had issues. I mean, of course, I'm sure you have as well, but I've always personally have issues with male doctors. They know it all. When it comes, and that's what I'm getting at with this dentist that I've gone to. They literally asked me what I think I should do. It wasn't like what they think I should
Mm-hmm.
do. It's like they gave me recommendations, but they were like, it's up to you in the end. They didn't make you feel stupid, is what I'm getting at. Like, they didn't make you feel dumb for asking a question. I asked millions of questions before I even let them work on me, and I like that. Down to earth, and that's why I like the more holistic places because
And they're always going to be more
Yeah.
knowledgeable at holistic places too, because, you know, you ask them a question and they will elaborate everything that you're doing. Like before we even went there, I called her on the phone and she explained the entire procedure, start to finish, of how the mercury was going to be extracted. And I thought that that was really professional, and I thought that was really great that she did that for me. And also, a little bit about the heavy metals test. So I went to a website called Holistic Heal, HEAL.com, and ordered the hair elements test. It was around $120 per test, which isn't too bad considering they are testing all of your heavy metals and your micronutrients to see if you have any excess or deficiencies. So that's something that I really recommend. Go to holisticheal.com and order the hair elements test. And, you know, your detox journey is something that plays a huge role in your overall health journey, but it's not the only one thing that's going to help you where, you know, to get where you want to be. There's a whole lot of other areas to look at for healing besides detox. Like if you're having fulfilling relationships, getting enough sunlight, eating the proper foods for gut and metabolic health, or having a fulfilling career, all kinds of things. So don't just think that if you have your amalgam fillings removed, your health is going to be great. Like, no, there's a lot more other things that you have to do to keep digging. It's not just going to be like, this is the cure-all, but it is going to help tremendously. There's no one magic pill. It's just a compilation of everything that you're doing. They also did dental work and removed about 1 millimeter of plaque and calculus from your teeth. So that drastic reduction of bacteria in your mouth, has that changed a lot for you in your life?
Absolutely. Of course, not only does it help with the the smell, but uh, definitely the freshness of the mouth. You know what I mean, and the way it looks, and the way you feel. I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's changed a lot clearly. But I know the dead tooth was really what was affecting me the most, and the mercury.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Your bacteria load had reduced a
Oh
lot when
yeah,
she did the oral
that's
swab.
right. Yeah, she did a test on me, and she says that like because like everything's on a 1 to 10 scale, and if you go to
Yes.
10, it's like ridiculous or something like
Yeah,
that.
really bad.
I was like at a 9 or 10 on almost
Ooh.
everything, and
Wow.
this last test, I'm like at a. I only had one tooth that was like a 3, and that's because I have the Invisalign.
That's crazy.
Like so, I went
So,
from like a 9 to 10 of every tooth to a 3.
okay, and given that you're starting Invisalign now, what's your oral hygiene routine? What does that look like right now?
Oh my gosh, I water pick like 3 or 4 times a day, flossing, brushing. The dental tools, those are good to have. I highly recommend that for people. You can literally clean your own teeth without having to go to the dentist. Like if you really have that like, money issues, go and just clean your own teeth as best you can. Like you can scrape off plaque and all that stuff like that. So that, and I haven't done oil pulling because like I have a bad habit of eating or something. I just forget. I wake up and I just want to go do something or
I think the thing with oil pulling too is like the fact that I want like a hand pump dispenser to like
yeah.
pump the oil out, but then like if it's not room temperature, it's going to be solid, so I don't know if that would
Yeah,
work. And
exactly.
like dipping a spoon in there every single day, that's going to get really disgusting and filled with bacteria. So I don't know. I haven't really found a way to efficiently stay consistent with it, but I think getting like fractionated coconut oil and putting it in like a soap dispenser, I think that would work because then you could just squirt it into a spoon. And of course, don't spit it down the drain, spit it in a trash can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've tried oil pulling before and it seemed to help a lot. My teeth were really white, they were really shiny,
Hmm.
my gums felt a lot stronger, and it just overall was pleasant. I really liked it and I really need to get back into it. So again, to find a holistic dentist that removes mercury safely with a dental dam, proper protective clothing, mercury vacuum, oxygen, you can search on your browser, search for local IAOMT certified dentist, or just type in IAOMT.org and that'll go to their direct website. So that way you can find a dentist in your area. And back to like the availability and how we were talking about the finances and everything, like you look in some of these lower socioeconomic places like Tennessee and the Carolinas, and you cannot find a holistic dentist there. I think in the whole state of Tennessee there was only like two, like one or two, and then in Florida I think there was like 50 something. I'm like, holy shit, that's insane. But there's a lot of money that's in Florida. Like you look in Texas and there's a lot of those kinds of dentists as well. Same with California. Go on.
And they're usually, it's sad, they're usually like in the rich quote unquote areas, right? Or no? I mean, am I wrong? Or,
I mean, yeah, they're more targeted towards like upper to rich class, but it doesn't have to be that way, because they will work with you. Yeah, they need money. They are going to work with you so that way you get the proper health care that you need, and they get the proper financial care so that way they can keep their business running. So on to the government allowing these toxic substances into our mouths and lying to people and telling them that it's safe. What do you think of that?
It really breaks my heart, because I think of my friend's kid. They told me that the other day, and it makes me sad for my mom, because she had no choice. She was a single mom, barely made any money, and like she did what she could. These parents are kind of like, what do they do? Like, it's the kid lives in pain, or his tooth I don't know. I mean, it's there is no. I think it's terrible. Something should be accounted for. I mean, it's illegal to get raw milk, but I can get mercury in my mouth, and I don't know.
It's crazy. It's so insane how backwards everything is. I mean, for us to get raw milk, like it feels like a drug deal, because like she could get in so much trouble for doing what she's doing, because she doesn't have like a license to sell it. I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, I've milked her goats before. I take care of her goats with her once a week. Like, I know that they're clean. I don't know where the stuff in the store is coming from. Do you know where it's coming from?
And we did buy some milk, and look how sick we got.
Yeah, we bought pasteurized A2 milk, and like at first I was fine, but I don't know, like, I mean, I pasteurize the raw milk that we get, and I cook with that, and I'm fine. But then whenever we buy pre-pasteurized milk from the store, like, I'm so sick to my stomach. But like, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I don't feel like I'm lactose intolerant because I bought A2 raw cow milk from a farm, and I cooked with it. So therefore it was pasteurized and I wasn't sick. Yeah. So like, what the hell are they doing to this milk? Is it because they're homogenizing it and they're pressing the fat into the liquid?
Well, it's crazy because they're normalizing everything. Like, I honestly don't feel that everyone should be fat. Like, I feel like we should all be like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, not even like big and muscular, but I mean, like, I don't know. They made everything so normal. Like, even walking a mile is like impossible to people.
Yeah, people are like, oh my God, you walk that far? I'm like, what the hell do you do all day? Just sit and watch TV? Like, that's not good for you. And, the government and the media really makes it seem normal to just be depressed and binge watch your TV. Like, why do you want to sit there and just watch your TV all day? Like, go do something productive. Go do something that is going to make you feel good about yourself. And I don't know, it's crazy. Yeah, people really are super overweight, and the whole like, oh, beautiful at any size, like, that's a bunch of bullshit.
They normalize it.
It's bullshit. There's no, you cannot be healthy at any size. You need to take care of yourself. Like, these people who are 400 or 500 pounds, like, that is not okay. That is not okay to be that size and to tell other people that it's okay, because you are harming your internal organs. You are increasing your risk of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, all kinds of illnesses, and you're telling other people that it's okay. No, these are just lies.
Well, here's my thing. Like, I'm 35, and of course, and this is where we go back to it, I've lost 40 pounds. I weigh as much as I did when I was in the Army. And that was and I'm not even doing nowhere near as much as the physical activity I did back then. So something's, you know what I mean? We're doing something wrong. Like, not we, but I mean, like, the society. And a
lot of people are just so insulin resistant because, they eat so many carbs and sugar at inconsistent times throughout the whole day. And it's just, a lot of that's big food telling you that you can be beautiful at any size, and it's not true, because they want you to keep eating their fake food with fillers and a bunch of toxic stuff in it, because they they want you to keep buying it. They want you to get bigger and bigger so that way you get sicker and sicker.
Yep.
And, it's really sad that it is that way.
And that's, I guess, to ask you about the government, answer your question about the government and tie it all in. That's what annoys me, is the fact that I went to like 8 different doctors for migraines, for allergies, for, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it was my dental work.
Yep. Because the doctors are taught that everything is separate. They look at the pancreas separate than the stomach, and separate than the heart, and separate than the mouth. Like, your whole body is connected. Everything is connected by your meridians, and if you don't take care of those energy channels and it's blocked somewhere, you're going to get dysfunctions in other areas of your body. So by really taking care of yourself and making sure that all of your health is up to par, so to say, then yeah, absolutely, you're going to feel much better. And there are a ton of symptoms that are definitely associated with mercury toxicity, and I just think that people aren't aware of this stuff. And I think by bringing more awareness to what's going on and the lies that the dentistry is coming up with, I think that's really important for everyone to be aware of that, because we can definitely save a lot of people a lot of heartache if we just open up conversation about what's going on. So I really do appreciate you jumping on my podcast and for sharing your story, because this is important stuff, and I'm glad that, hearing people's stories is what moves people to take action, I feel.
Of course, I'm glad to be here as well. Definitely glad I get to speak about it, because I'm not happy about, of course part of it was me, but, I didn't know anything about mercury fillings, and people are convinced that it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are convinced that a small amount of mercury won't affect.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's just a small amount. I'm like, okay, well, what's the safe amount of mercury to be in your body, like, consistently? But yeah, I'm glad that we got that taken care of for you, because your health has changed dramatically.
Life's been a lot better. I can honestly say I'm a living testament. Even the dentist says that I've looked completely different. My whole body structuring changed. But once again, when your body's fighting off infection, it inflames. And that's another thing. We're all inflamed. Not all, but most of us are inflamed.
Mm-hmm. And
we don't even know it. We say we're fat, but it's more inflamed. Like, when I see people, I don't see fat people. I see inflamed people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I don't know. It's scary. It's sad.
Yeah, because when you were overweight, you weren't technically, you had extra fat, of course, but it was more just like a ton of inflammation in your body, because like the way that you held on to your fat wasn't normal. It was puffy.
Yeah.
And that's what I see with a lot of people. You see these women and they're, normal weight, but then they have this tire around their stomach, like huge tires around their stomach, and you're like, that's not right. Their legs and arms look like little sticks, but then their stomachs are, it looks like they swallowed a inflatable. So it's something that we definitely have to bring more awareness to. But yeah, the mercury fillings, if you have them in your mouth, please go get them safely removed. Your life will completely change. Do not let any doctor or anybody convince you that it's safe to be in your mouth, because the stuff is certainly not safe. And do your research about where you're going. So we are definitely coming up on the 40-minute mark. So if you have any questions or comments, my Instagram is Megan Garza Wellness. If you like the podcast, let me know. Topic suggestions are always welcome, so feel free to send them to me through my Instagram DM or a message on my website. Thanks so much for tuning into my podcast, Restoring Balance. Be sure to check back next week for the next topic.